Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live episode of Jim and Rob Over-Analyze Movies, the live video podcast for people who are looking for a deeper conversation about the films we watch today. You know what? Let's make it happen. That's right, everyone. We are going to be looking at the Academy Award nominated, Best Picture nominated film Bugonia. Of course, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, and starring Jesse Plemons, Emma Stone, of course, Aiden, oh my goodness, I'm gonna screw this up, but here we are. Aiden Delbus, and a couple of almost like cameos, Stavros Halkias and Alicia Silverstone in an interesting role. It was, of course, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, written by Will Tracy, based on the film Save the Green Planet by Joon-hwan, who is actually the one who is supposed to direct this. This is the film he made in 2003, I think it was, and was supposed to direct this adaptation, and but it fell ill. And so Lanthimos was hired on, and then, of course, Emma Stone, who I believe was attached later. All right, with that out of the way, I think, though, it's time to bring on my co-host with the most, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jim Chiboyko. How you doing, my friend?
Good. Good, yeah. Heading into the second month of the year. It's hard to believe. I think I've only seen one movie in the theater actually this year, so I got to pick up on that. But getting there. Well, I still haven't seen a movie dated 2026 yet, so that there's always a little bit of a catch up there. I'm waiting for my first 2026 release. But anyhow,
Well,
how are you doing?
You know what? Similar bind.
Yeah.
You know, our pace has not been what it once was for our show. And yeah, I think this is the year, Jim, 2026. We got to get back on the horse. Maybe not every week like we were doing when we first started the podcast, but perhaps the 3 times every 2 months is a little light.
Yeah.
You know, of course, that's also on me, who has to, maybe edit and produce some of the stuff we have already shot on some films that have been nominated. It'd be nice to get those video reviews. Your
growing
up.
Business concerns, as they
yes, my vast holdings.
What do they call it on The Simpsons? The Hakodate fish concern, but yeah.
And yes, my leather concern, along with podcast editing and the occasional voiceover job. Well, Jim, on that note, why don't we jump right into this show? Let me just quickly, I should really pull it out. Look at that, Brett Woods. Brett Woods is in the chat. He is saying Bugonia is the best film of the year of 2025. That's a big swing. There have been some other solid contenders. But let's get into this one, Jim. I will here's the log line. And this is from IMDb. 2 conspiracy obsessed young men. I don't know about 2 of them, but there were 2 guys. Kidnapped the high-powered CEO of a major company, a big pharmaceutical company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. As I said, it was based on a this flick, Save the Green Planet, by Jang Joon-hwan. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it sounds like, yeah, Lanthimos, the director, was a hire. Like, he was hired to do this. And that kind of, let's get your spoiler-free review, Jim. I'd love to know what your general impressions were. And I guess in a way, maybe if you can tease us whether or not this really felt like a Yorgos Lanthimos film or maybe something a little different.
Yeah, I think it did. This is, I hadn't seen Kinds of Kindness, and I didn't necessarily want to automatically compare it to Poor Things, but when you get these two together, Stone and Lanthimos, they're certainly not going back to the well. Like, they're trying different things, and I think that's a good thing. Tonally, it's different. For a role, she's playing different kinds of roles as well. Yeah, it's just taking a chance. She's not afraid on her part. She's not afraid to, she ends up sort of hobbling. Well, there's this scene anyway. She turns into a little bit of a sort of a Gollum type character, but she's not unwilling to look bad physically in this. And I see her taking these roles on as a challenge, and yeah, good on her. Yeah, I don't want to give it too much away. So ultimately, I give it a big thumbs up. I strongly see it, and yeah, I think it's a good one.
I agree with you. It's well worth the time. Definite see it. I do think it is. You're right. It's different. I can see why some folks. I asked that question, Jim. I only learned that he was a hire. That this isn't a project he developed. When I was researching before I watched the movie, you kind of do your preview setup, right? And it was like, oh, that's why you're hearing how some people are saying this doesn't really feel like it, or it's not quite what he, what they've seen from him before. I certainly think tonally it is a little, dare I say, darker. But we can unpack that a little more later, and once we get in the spoiler zone. But yeah, I think it's a see it. Let me ask you this, and maybe it's not a question you need to answer right away. We both agree it's a see it, but maybe think about it as we're chatting in the spoiler zone. This is definitely not a 4-quadrant film. Who would you recommend it to? What kind of, when you think about, oh, you should see this, what does that person look like? What is that avatar of the Begonia? Hey, I think you'll enjoy this. Just something to think about.
Yeah.
Unless you've got like oh no, I know exactly who.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't suggest, when my mother was still around, I would not suggest this to her. This would not be her cup of tea, but we'll continue with that answer later on. But that's a good place to start. It's definitely not everyone's, not for everyone.
Yeah. Here's Brett in the chat's take. Let me just pull this up here, Jim. Where are we here? Okay. I asked Brett in the chat why he felt it's the best of the year. And here's some of his thoughts. It feels like a play in a way. Loved the music, solid story, pacing, message, original photography. It's beautifully filmed and works as a great dark comedy, which is very hard to pull off. And that's another thing I'm going to ask you about in the spoiler zone. So, Jim, if it's cool with you, shall we dive in there?
Yeah. Just so I don't screw it up for anyone.
The spoiler zone.
Not gonna lie, I enjoyed that. Yeah,
Yeah, not just because I was like I was
sure.
on the verge. I was on the verge of wrecking it earlier. So yeah.
Uh, yeah, and it is a yeah, this is the kind of movie you can take some of the bees are a big thing in this flick.
Hmm.
You could take some of the sting out, the intentional sting,
Yeah.
but with a couple of major spoilers. Here, I want to start with this though, Jim, as I look at my notes.
Mhm.
I will say this, you know, my expectations, I kind of jotted down some of my expectations, and I'm like, you know, Lanthimos will want to get under our skin. You know, it's kind of what it's kind of a thing he does, I think, with all his films. You know, it's to push us. And it's certainly got that. But I got to admit, I was like, how did you find this as something to watch? I found it a hard watch. Like at times I'm like, oh, this is
Yeah.
intense. I think I even wrote down, Jim, I was like, this is a comedy. Where are the laughs?
Yeah. Well, what did Wikipedia says? Black comedy thriller. I love some of their. That's even harder to pull off. No, I mean, you know, after the wife goes to bed and she, you know, do you want to watch this? No. So and it's a 2-hour movie, so I started it pretty late, and it was all I thought. Oh, I'm gonna have to cut this. I'm gonna have to watch the first hour and go to bed. But I was good for the whole thing. In terms of the different approach to watching it, Brent's not wrong. To me, it did seem, even you know, with the trailers and all the other stuff that I was ingesting about it before I actually watched it, it did seem like a theater piece. Specifically, it almost seems like maybe not experimental, but one of those sort of Ionescu or like the Eastern European theater. Like there's something a little bit severe about it. And almost and the reason why it's not at the top of my list for 2025 is it's almost comes across as sort of didactic a little bit, or I don't know if you define that as being on the nose a bit. I mean, still good, still had went for the big swing. There's a lot of interesting things happening, but yeah, I don't love violence against women. I'll just put this out here before I forget. Weapons had a scene where the lead woman character had 3 different occasions in which she's choked out, and there's another one in this one that Emma Stone's getting choked out, and I'm like, is this really, like, is this like, is this a technique for suspense? Because I don't dig that, at all. It's like a vulnerable person, being choked. So I mean, the violence, yeah, had a bit of difficulty with that. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it was, I don't want to say dry and I don't want to say boring. It wasn't boring and it wasn't dry, but there's just something a little bit, I don't know. It maybe came across as like written by a university professor, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
I've been thinking about this for the last 2 days, and I haven't really been able to put my finger quite on it, admittedly. But I have been thinking about how I would express that. Yeah.
You know what? I found it more like it was so intense. And so like, and when I say I'm, this is not it is, well, if it's a comedy, it's a different, there are a couple of comic moments. Yes.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's mostly, it's like a grand joke.
Yeah.
Well, the joke's on all of us kind of thing,
Mhm.
and like it's like an H.P. Lovecraft joke. Well, did you know?
Yeah.
But I think during especially that right when it dawns on Emma Stone, like I'm sorry, on Michelle, on the Emperor,
Mhm.
that it's oh, this could go sideways. This is bad. She is no
Yeah.
longer in control. Like when he first hits her,
Yeah.
when Teddy first hits her, that you're like, oh, this is bad.
I,
And but oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna quick addition is that they actually don't show the slap. They show his arm go back and they show her react to it, but they don't really show contact, which is kind of so it was very selective violence.
Well, it's also like, I mean, the same thing when they were electrocuting her.
Yeah,
We
yeah, I
only
was gonna mention that,
see
yeah.
the side, but you're like, you know what's going on.
Mhm.
Um, and you can see how it's bothering Dawn.
Yes,
You
yeah.
know, and you can see her. You can hear her. You know, and it's
Mhm.
I'm wondering, and there's a question for you, Jim, for Brett in the chat, anyone else who's looking, kind of waiting for their opportunity to chime in. This is it's a South Korean film 20 years ago, a country that knows dictatorship
Mhm.
and knows what dictatorship does to our idea of what's real and what isn't truth. Like, I mean, it's like, oh, this is the result of a 1984-esque party attack on knowledge, on truth. But some of this stuff is coming out now in our current context. I think it hits differently.
Mhm.
And so what do you think about, like, how do you think this acts on us, like, is some of what we're feeling, what audiences are feeling, is just almost a result of what's going on in our time now, because it's
Yeah.
like, wow, that's like some 4chan stuff, and then some stuff like, oh, Teddy's right there, and not just the OSHA
Yeah.
violation. I don't know. What do
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah, it sometimes like that narrative frame that you hold up to things, you can probably take a look at any given year and sort of ascribe whatever to the quality and the type of those movies. But with this one, I think yeah, you're onto something, especially the ending, which ends with well, we're in the spoiler
Yeah,
zone,
let's
so
just say it.
it
Throw
ends
it
with
down.
all human life extinguished. Like not even there's no survivors, but all the cats and birds and plants and bees
Yeah.
are fine. And there's something recently that we watched I call it iPhone TV, Apple TV, the Apple TV series Pluribus,
Yeah.
which starts off with a similar kind of virus that affects people in certain ways. I'm not giving anything away. That's the basis of the show. But again, this is something that attacks the whole race except for a few people, and everything else is alive, and it's essentially it's for the health of the planet. Maybe not for, but the byproduct is that the planet is in better shape.
Well,
Like maybe we as humans have had our turn. We haven't done so well. These are sort of misanthropic
oh,
kinds of
absolutely.
works. And science fiction's always had a vein of misanthropy in it. I've noticed that. I noticed that as a 12-year-old when I
Yeah.
was reading my first few challenging novels. But yeah, no, I definitely think you're on. Like, is this a product of this age? Yeah, yeah.
It's like, I'm starting to forget my own question.
Sorry.
Pluribus virus? What similar virus? Oh, maybe that's us. Well, I want to
Yeah.
say, so the bees do return. And this is, I think, the metaphor of the title.
Mhm.
And folks, I'll pull it up. I do have it here. Just a sec. Where do we have it
While you're
here?
doing that, I'll just mention that the opening shot is the same as the close shot. It's that purple flower
Yeah.
with the bees on it, and that's the same way it ends. So a
Well,
little bit of a
here, folks. Yeah. So the begonia, uh, not a flower, but a folk practice. Eh, Mediterranean history. Virgil talked about it, but it's not really it's a practice apparently to bring bees. Like everyone knew the importance of bees. Bees, it's not like we just discovered the relationship with bees in certain crops now. This has been a thing known or inferred by the Greeks. But anyway, here's Virgil, a Roman philosopher and poet. This isn't actually Virgil. It's from the Byzantine Geoponica. This is how you bring, but of course, as much as they inferred it, this is how they bring them back. It's you basically build a house, put a fat ox in it, kill it by letting a number of young men beat him violently with clubs so as to mangle both flesh and bones, but don't
wow.
shed any blood. Plug all the orifices, mouth, eyes, nose, plug it all up, leave it rot, and then in 3 weeks you'll magically have bees. And that's the thing, Jim, and that comes to my question. I think, and yes, folks, there is a description of the begonia practice, a link to that article. I think in the end, human beings are the ox.
Yeah.
Not that it was intentional. Like we do get this idea that the human beings have been experimented upon, that it was
Mhm.
the Andromedans, playing God and it just not working out,
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful montage at the end, by the way. I can't imagine the amount of work that went into it, but just of all the dead, beautiful. I mean, cinematic with all the dead people scattered, all races. It's almost like that old Coke commercial about having people sing in
well,
perfect harmony,
and
but they're all dead.
the music cue, the
Yeah.
needle drop, where have all the flowers gone? Right out of
Yes.
the
Yes.
60s, and that idea, hey, we're going to
Yeah.
destroy ourselves. Brett commented, I want to bring this up quickly. If you see it a second time, and yes, I think this is a film that definitely rewards multiple viewing, Jim. If you can make yourself do it, I suspect it will. It has tells through it, so I think it's going to be similar to The Sixth Sense, maybe.
Mhm.
He also feels the Dawn character is very well done. Did not how the story was going to play out. I didn't either. I think that's part of my
No.
tension. It's like, where is this going?
Yeah.
How is this going to end? How is this going to play out? It's not for everyone, for sure. Art house. You know what? Brett, it's art house. People rarely make movies this experimental and risky. You know what? Brett, and I'll say this to you, Jim. So you've got, let's say, there's commercial friction, Patterson's of the world. It's the guy who wrote that, Clive Cussler,
Oh yeah.
Daniel Steele,
Yeah. Yeah.
commercial, right? And
Yeah.
then up
Yeah. Yeah.
here you have literary fiction,
Hmm.
Marquez, Umberto Eco. In the middle, and I think this film is in the middle. I learned this term, upscale fiction.
Yeah.
And because this is still a pretty accessible film. So I'd put to you, Jim, and to Brett, yeah, you're the person I would say, hey, you may want to give this a shot, is somebody who's maybe it's like they don't mind getting pushed a little, but it is
Yeah.
still a thriller. It still has, whereas I think, oh, what the heck, Quiet Dream, the one we raved about a year ago. I cannot remember what it's called. Lanthimos, Emma Stone.
Poor things.
Poor Things. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like that is okay. That's gold-plated art house. I think this is a lot more accessible. This might even be a way, as dark as it is, as harsh as it is, this might be a way to say, maybe you're ready to move out of your standard commercial fare, but it's still kind of accessible.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there to you and to Brett. Love to hear what you think on that. I do want to, at what point did you feel uncomfortable, or did you ever feel, I don't mean uncomfortable, like we talked about the violence against women and even the implied violence. I also at times, being the real lefty of the show, the one that makes you look a lot more center than you are, Jim, I shouldn't say real lefty. That's unfair to you, my friend.
Hold on, I left my Volvo running. I don't even know what that means.
But as a self-proclaimed Marxist,
yeah,
there were at times where I'm like, I felt a little implicated or a little, wait a second, are you talking about me? Yeah. Almost a little bit of, what the Did you ever feel that way in this, when you were watching this, implicated in that way? Like, I'm
that I'm
curious.
part of the problem, or
maybe
part of
the problem, or things Teddy would say, being the, being the brains of the operation.
Mm-hmm. It's very critical on contemporary society, and it's obvious that Teddy doesn't come from a very healthy household, but it's all part of the same kind of North America, and
doing his own research.
Doing his own research, and what I thought, I thought, for about the first half, I was thinking, oh, what a nut bar. Oh, yet another guy who thinks he has all the answers, and he, obviously it's going to turn out that he doesn't. But I mean, they do draw him as a sympathetic character who's a victim, his mother
Suffering.
was suffering, specifically because of pharmaceuticals and several other different
the
industries
creepy cop
too.
Casey,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that didn't go. Oh,
that was a interesting detail that I sort of thought, and maybe this is what Brent is alluding to, is that first conversation where he sort of puts on the lights and woo woo as Jesse Plemons is Teddy is driving by on his bike, and he first stops him and he says, hey, just wanted to see how you're doing. And it didn't quite feel like two buds. Like they appeared to be a similar age. But it didn't feel like
this is a babysitter or nothing weird. I'm like, yeah, you're a creep.
You're a creep.
Yeah. That because it's so there's that, and the chemical castration. Even the way, so when he sticks poor Donnie, and there's like, wow, that hand is kind of lingering there.
Oh, yeah. I didn't notice that. I'll have to.
It's there.
He wasn't uncomfortable doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't. When it's like he obviously felt it was okay to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like just even that idea of we got to harness our energies. It's like,
Well, and it speaks to the power imbalance that he would have experienced with the babysitter
Yeah.
too, right? You know, can I go to the bathroom? No. And he had, you know, poor, I don't think he ever made it to the poor, was it Donnie? Yeah,
Yeah.
Don. But yeah, I mean, I think if anything, we're, as it turns out in the end, we're guilty of underestimating Teddy. You know, we're sort of programmed to think these guys are sort of drippy tinfoil hat wearing kind of people, and you know,
Yeah.
and I love this, and I was like praying to God that it would end like it did. I was like, oh, please make this, please make her, please make her an Andromedan, and that would be really an awesome swing. And when it turns out that is true, you also realize that you've sort of underestimated Teddy. Now
That
he's not that he's a great guy. I mean, he's got
no.
his little experimental kitchen or lab with the you know with the Ed
All the
Gein like
other
body
people
collection.
he thought is an Andromedan or whatever, right?
How many of them turned out to be Andromedan? Two. When it doesn't really. There's heads all over the place, and are these his neighbors? Like, are hitchhikers? I don't, you know,
Well,
coworkers.
like, what's one of the things? It's like, well, where did dad go? Like, where did,
Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
mean, he refers to these people who have left, and it's like, well, where did they go? Is he like, oh, the alien took them over, and
Well,
so
they
they're
also say,
gone, and so I'm just killing the alien, or, you know,
and also, where's Donnie's parents? Our whole family is dead. They keep
yeah,
saying, but the only one that we have any kind of relationship is Alicia Silverstone, his mom,
yeah,
right? And yeah, where's the rest of our family's dead implies that more than one person is died, but we, you know, was he forced, you know, to kill them or to figure it out if they were Andromedon or not? So, um, yeah, I mean, there's lots going on here. You know, it's funny. It took me a while, and maybe it isn't like this for everyone, but after I finished watching it, I was like, yeah, it was a pretty gory movie. like, like when you pile up all the deaths,
yeah.
you know, of the principal characters,
Well,
think
even
like,
speaking of heads, what's the
yeah,
last what's the last clear shot we have of Teddy is his head
yeah,
just
yeah.
lying there, you know?
And they all come to, and they're not gentle deaths. They're extremely
No.
bloody, violent
Yeah.
deaths. All three of the main, you know, male characters die, and then there's that, you know, special room filled with bodies. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty gory stuff.
Yeah.
There's a
Well,
lot of the budget for blood must have been sizable
well,
for
and
this
this
movie.
is where I'm like, I would call it a crime film. Like, as far as genres go, it is about a
Yeah,
kidnapping.
yeah, it's
You know,
about a kidnapping.
that's
Yeah.
what it is. And they're trying to extort something out of their kidnapping victim.
Mhm.
That's the heart of it. Yes,
Yeah.
there's some comic elements, including when she gets out of like, when it finally it's like, "Okay, I've been through this. Now I can start to laugh again." As she gets out of the ambulance, "Now gotta go." And it's like
Yes.
and then you're like, "Oh, somebody's gotta get back to the office apparently." Just great. Just, you know, but it kinda plays with that moral kind of, "Hey, maybe, cabin in the woods."
Yes. Yeah.
You know, that sort of idea that all and I do H.P. Lovecraft, he's so problematic as a compliment. But his, you know, this is going to that place where it's like, well, is humanity just a bad idea?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Uh,
Further to the sort of the comedic aspect of it, this to me, I was thinking when the initial kidnapping, because these things
Wait, sorry,
rarely come
Jim,
off.
I'm gonna quickly interrupt
Sure.
Brett, and you can understand why she was starting to take bigger measures to escape because she's got a star to catch.
She got a what? I
She's
did.
got a star to catch. I'm sorry,
Oh,
I have
yes.
somebody needs there we go.
There you go.
Thank you,
Good one.
Brett. Thanks for coming.
Nice one,
I
Brett.
mean, you've been great comments, interesting insight. But that's the topper. Sorry, I'm sorry, Jim. You were saying. My
No, no.
apologies.
I was just going to add that these kidnappings really go off smoothly. Almost, if
Yeah.
any crime worth watching, it's almost like any dinner party worth watching is going to end up horribly. Any crime worth watching has its share of screw ups, and for me, the kidnapping almost I got Fargo vibe, like the movie Fargo
Yeah.
vibes from it. I got vibes from another, almost like, I was thinking earlier, black comedy. Is that like Scream, the Scream movies, which
Yeah.
I don't love? Or the killing of many people. Or it's sort of like maybe a black comedy into the vein of those things, but better done, of course.
Yeah.
This one,
Let
but
me let
yeah,
me
I definitely had Fargo vibes with that
Yeah. Yeah.
initial almost botched
Well,
kidnapping.
even Dawn, it's
Yeah,
like I wrote it down. I was like, is Dawn gonna be Dawn, weak link? Like in these kidnapping movies, there's always somewhere it's like, why do you have him? Like
yeah.
that's obviously not gonna work out.
Well, he's
But
the,
I'm
he's the
also wondering, did it I may have missed it, but I'm like, Dawn, like, where was Dawn with all these other killings? Like,
was he
or
was he
did
even privy to it?
Ted bring him in as a cousin from somewhere else, from maybe another institution or something? This poor family, this really quite tragic, sad family,
Yeah,
because he's like, oh, this is the big one. I've zeroed in, because who knows? Maybe some of these people he's chopped up actually gave up the goods. No, our leader, she is there. Like maybe this is not just research, but he's been investigating. Ugh.
yeah, yeah.
Like
The poor Don character.
so,
I was
Dawn
thinking,
is
who's
brought
this?
in because he
Yeah,
needs This is going after big game. He needs a buddy this
needs some
time.
muscle. Yeah.
You know.
It sort of reminds me of Sal, any of the John Cazale roles, Sal in Dog Day
Oh yeah.
Afternoon, where he's like, "What should we do now, man?" Like that kind of like, oh, this guy's doomed.
Yeah.
He's not getting out of this alive. But anyhow,
Yeah.
like
Um.
again, we have passed the spoiler zone, folks. So
Oh. Or Brett says, see, yeah. What if Teddy didn't die? Would she have actually taken him?
yeah,
You know.
yeah, no, that's a very good question.
And even
And that would,
what's interesting is Dawn. Who wanted to go? Like Teddy just wanted to fix things here. Dawn is the one who's like, I want to leave. This place sucks.
yeah,
The
yeah,
you could say the innocent in the whole operation. Like he's obviously not like, and of course the United States would still convict him and put him on death row, but
oh, yeah.
like this is not somebody who's like, you just like, really this
You're okay.
poor sucker, this poor
Yeah, yeah.
bastard who society has only failed.
Mhm.
But that leads me to my next question. Like, I mean, I'm struggling with a number of things about this flick. It's almost like, who is the bad guy?
Yeah,
Because in the
yeah,
end,
that's a good
I'm
point.
not sure the Andromedans are all that good either. Like,
No.
I mean,
Well, they're sad when they pull the plug, but they they show a bit of guilt.
yeah. It's like, when you're the one who's doing all the wrong things, you should. And actually, that's to stop you from doing the wrong things.
I almost thought that the whole origin story that she talked about, that
Atlantis
the
and
the
everything.
the, the, the Empress talked about with Atlantis
Yeah.
and stuff, it was vaguely similar to the L. Ron Hubbard legends of that. I don't want to set anybody off. That S
Dianetics?
religion, yes, with the nuclear bomb and the volcano kind of stuff. Because she
Yeah.
does mention a thermonuclear war. So was that a slight little sort of jab at those kinds of beliefs?
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah, but science fiction too, based,
yeah.
sort of with had that science fiction adjacent kind of aspect to it,
Yeah.
as
Uh,
well.
well, and this is like, I kind of wonder, I'm like, because there is still a, dare I say, a critique of capitalism in this. And poor Teddy does get a few things right,
Mhm.
as he's babbling away, And here is the, let's say, the alien ruling class, well, we'll just guide them. Like, this is like Palantir level crazy, and we'll control and we'll just manipulate and it'll all be better for you. Trust us, and well, we can't trust you. So we're never going to tell you the truth. And there's a part of me kind of going, and I wrote it down, Jim. I'm like, are Donnie and Ted, or Don and Teddy, the tiger's eating her face? Like, because she is not, at the end, oh, it's a new day. Nobody, it's no longer mandatory. You can leave at 5:30. I mean,
Oh
unless
yeah,
you have
yeah,
work to do or still a business, let your conscience guide you. Like, so there's no
yeah,
new day. The old
yeah.
boss, the new boss is the exact same thing as the old boss. The language has changed a little.
And a douchey tech bro or pharma bro, kind of
Yeah.
approach. Yeah, and I sort of wonder. She does say that, and I don't know if this was just to mollify Teddy or not, but she does say, "Oh, I lost sight of who I was. I lost sight of myself as what I was doing here, and as a human, and I sort of
Mhm.
changed, and I got to, be a better boss or leader." I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
She sort of goes on for a bit, and I was like thinking that, did the Andromedon lose herself in her human plot? Like, did she get caught up in being a human? Because she had
Yeah.
the Louboutin shoes with the
Yeah.
red bottoms and everything else, and she played the part, and that requires effort. And yeah, no, I sort of was wondering, yeah, she got so caught up. Did she get so caught up in the role that distracted
Yeah.
her from her Andromedon duties?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, let me, okay, first I want to just jump into the chat quickly here.
sure.
Brett,
While you're doing that, I got to get a cord for my
you
thing
bet.
because my batteries are super low. But I will be right back.
Yeah. Well, there you go, folks. Jim has to deal with batteries. Brett, you're saying here, or would she have really taken him here if his head explode? Um, Don's the only nice person in this thing. Right? Like, you loved that part. Which part? Need some need some description. Which part did you love? Of a lot of parts worthy of loving, you know, um, or being horrified by. Not sure which now. um, and Brett, I would like, yeah, chime in, anyone in the comments, who you think the bad guy is. I'm also going to put out here, I it is interesting. I noted it when it was happening. Um, when he said it, Teddy said it to Don, everything is for a reason. And I kind of rolled my eyes at that because I was thinking, it's like, yeah, that's not the way, that's got to be a thematic thing going on here, that because I'm trying to figure out, even as I'm watching it before and even now, I'm like, what is the movie really about? We know what the log line is, but what is it at its heart? What is this movie really about? And I thought, oh, maybe that's it. It's these Teddy and Dawn and even her have to accept that they're not as important. Everything doesn't, randomness. Listen, random happens. So yeah, I'd be kind of curious. Who do you think the bad guy is? What do you think the movie's really about? It's emotional log line. Certainly ain't about brotherhood. You know. So yeah, chime in there. Jim, where were we?
Mhm.
I was asking.
Oh yeah, who's the bad
Again,
guy?
who's the bad guy? Who do you think is the bad guy? If you're forced to pick one, Dawn, the evil
No.
Dawn.
Nope.
Everybody.
I just want to be left alone.
Just want to go
Um,
into space where
yeah,
it won't be
yeah.
like it is here.
Well, I mean,
Where
you
for
can,
him, life's probably sucks.
yeah. Well, he's living with essentially a serial killer, and the other option is to go up to space with a race killer. So like a planet killer. So he's
And
not
also a terrible
exactly.
boss.
Yes, yeah.
just a
Yeah.
truly shitty boss.
Well, as we can see often on social media, whether no matter what industry you're in. But the other thing, the question that I had is that did Dawn's suicide, did he think that was part of the going up to space? Did he have to be dead and they could revive him up there, or was he just, did he know that? How literal to take this? Did he know that there was no chance that he would go up to space? He didn't maybe believe that Teddy's truth there, that she was Andromeda. And she said, yeah, sure, I'd like to go up to space too. Bang. Like I sort and I don't think it's a bad point. I think it opens up more questions. Like what was the situation? What was that? Why did Dawn do that?
Yeah, it wasn't just a plot contrivance. It's like, oh, how do we get
No.
Casey in? Like, he's
Yeah.
well, and I think that goes to, how damaged, how traumatized, how hurt Dawn is.
Mhm.
And that he has been winding up and up and up, and now he's starting to see this is gonna go nowhere. Am I ever? He wants to escape, and at that point, something in there, and I think this is what Brett in the chat was saying about maybe a rewatch is in order, because maybe we can see more of his arc.
Yeah.
Because it is so intense. Everyone is so compelling, but you're like, I'm always afraid of violence breaking out,
Yeah.
but I wasn't expecting that,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like now that you ask the question, Jim, there's a part of me kind of going, yeah, maybe it's just like he was the one guy. So aren't we going to go up there? Aren't we going to stay there? He's being denied things. Even like he thought, well, maybe he could make love to a woman. Not, and I don't ever thought that was like, hey, I can,
Eventually
molest yeah, like more just, that might be for me. And here's the only guy who's loved him, the only guy who doesn't blame him, when he does, that, not even self-deprecating, that just almost self-loathing. I'm dumb. I'm sorry. And he's like, don't blame yourself. Other people have done it to you. It's so here's this guy who's saying, yeah, that's not going to be part of your future. Oh, staying in space. No, we're coming back here. And so it's like, you got to think, it's like, where is his escape?
Yeah.
And maybe it's just the way Michelle says it, he's like, "Oh, you're lying to me." And he's like, "Gotta go."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good point about him being denied. Like, even as I mentioned earlier, he doesn't even have, he has to get permission to essentially go to the washroom
Yeah.
to get up from the dinner table. And that's that seems kind of regressive in a lot of ways. But yeah, it speaks to that sort
Yeah.
of,
Teddy may care about him, may sincerely care about him, but he's
oh yeah,
not good to him.
no,
You
no,
know?
no. And abuses the power dynamic. It's what does it, hurt people, it's sort of,
Yeah.
I guess, um powerful,
Whatever.
adapt that, hurt people, adapt that for power.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, one of the equations that you have in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Coming back to my question though, who's the bad guy?
Hmm.
Is there a bad guy?
Or can
Who
there be
is the
multiple?
villain of this piece?
Yeah. Humanity.
Well, and that comes down to my question about, and this may not come till like a few days later, right? I mean, it's, what is the movie really about? Pick on the easy ones. Star Wars. A boy grows up. Pride and Prejudice. A young woman grows up and goes, "Oh, maybe I didn't know. I, the young teen, did not know everything I thought I knew."
Hmm.
Here, though, yeah, what is that emotional story? Like, it's compelling right to the end. I'm assuming it's still, although Michelle is important and we do end on her,
Hmm.
do we really start on her? Is it actually Michelle's story? Teddy and Dawn kind of drive the action. Teddy drives the action, but maybe it's Michelle's story. Hers is the character arc that we can kind of go, this is what it's about. Because otherwise, right now, all I can think of is, and this is, if I have a criticism of this movie, it's this. It's like, it's the same reason I had a problem with The Triangle of Sadness, the same reason I had a problem with thematically with 40 Acres. All these films kind of say, yeah, the world sucks, but it's humanity. It's something in our genes and our makeup. There's no imagination of a better world. There's no, it plays with systems. Teddy does say some stuff where I'm like, well, that's your, damn it, Teddy, that's almost analysis. But here it's all written off as in our human character, that it's because we're human beings. And it's like, I don't know, like.
Yeah, you think that's too simple?
Way too simple.
Yeah.
No, like, I mean, it shows, again, I kind of think about it like when we were talking about House of Dynamite. It's like, really, you got no imagination. That's it. It's just going to end. Like, just like those characters could not go, you know what? Hey, if Chicago's gone, we've got all the time in the world. We can take 10 minutes to figure this out. We do not have to respond before the bomb lands. And for anyone who's watched a movie that almost no one talks about anymore, that was a big spoiler. Yeah, so I right now that's the, if there's a bad guy, it's humanity. Even though the Andromedans, it's a Bart Simpson line. It's the, I can't help but feel partly responsible. It's like,
yeah,
you're totally responsible, for sakes,
I mean, with the emotional log line involved, we look at the micro here in the terms of 3 characters, but would it be the planet? A planet fails, period.
Well, that's the best I can come up with,
You
and I
know?
don't
Yeah.
that doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't really satisfy me based on what's
Well,
going
and
on
it
with this film, so but it could
yeah, and it
also
can
be that I think that's a big theme, and maybe the reason it's like, I don't think that's emotionally what it's about, it doesn't feel right, is because I just have a real problem with that theme. I'm like, "Yeah, it's really? That's the best we can come up with?
and
Humanity sucks?"
that might explain why not so much that conclusion, but just that sort of th- the fact that it might just be about an entire planet is why it's maybe a bit remote. And if you look at the anecdotal reactions to it online, people seem to either love it or hate it. And it's really interesting to
Well,
see
that's why
that.
that cinema
Not,
score, they got a B. But I
oh,
think
okay.
movies like this will get that. Yeah, that B, because
Yeah.
it's still an average, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
whenever I see that on what's critically acclaimed, I'm going, "Wow, I bet you people hated it or loved it." No, well, it
Yeah.
was fine. This is not a fine movie. This is a, you know, um, I did want to highlight something.
Sure. Yeah.
Brett says,
Thanks for sticking around, Brett.
yeah, um, where did he say it? Don needed to go to the bathroom, and they kept it in the movie. Um, smart ass. Um, I did too. I noticed this at the end when she pops the bubble on the Earth, that it's
Yeah.
flat.
No.
It's that flat Earth design,
Yeah.
which also goes, is this a, because Teddy is this is he's a stereotype of a conspiracy theorist,
Mhm.
but he's also I did my own, like, everything is hit there, including all the crazy that he could somehow infer what the spaceship looks like. And it really, maybe it is a flat Earth, and, we're not on a globe, and all this stuff. And it's like, or is this just really like a fantasy for these folks?
Well, yeah,
You
that's
know?
what you got to be careful about, right? It's just, it's like uh, all the chodes, all the mega folks identifying with Luke Skywalker or whoever, and just like you guys aren't even paying attention, are you?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, and so
Um,
is this a satire of these folks? And it's like,
yeah,
this is what they'd be happy with. This
I think
world,
he's as
you
as
know?
the English say. I think Lanthimos here is taking the piss out of everyone. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to see the Korean version now.
Yeah.
I took a look at the trailer earlier, and I think it'd be an interesting exercise to see if you could find that and see how they handle things. But yeah, I think he's taken a, like I said earlier on, that little story about the Atlanteans. I'm pretty sure it sounds very Scientology
Oh,
adjacent. I'm
yeah.
not saying
And
that it
it's
is.
all part of the crazy. It's all
Yeah.
part of the
And
crazy, right? Of
and
that
there's a really
4chan,
good
QAnon,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
There's a really good suite of lines. It's not really like a monologue really, but I think when Teddy's talking about it, he says, "Oh, I went through all the stages. I went through this and that and this and that, and I
Yeah.
did this, and I went letter writing, and I was this kind of activist, and it got me nowhere," or something to that
Yeah.
effect. And I thought you would probably really appreciate that, because it sort of was just like, it was like taking an activist and doing like a cross section and sort of pointing out the rings, and of experience. And yeah, it was kind of a, and he said, "Now I'm here, and I got it all. I got the whole picture." And
Well, even
uh,
where it is interesting, like, there's the moment where he's like telling his coworker, "Hey, you gotta," and she's like, "I don't want to make trouble." You feel I don't want to get fired,
yeah, yeah,
because making trouble gets somebody can't. And he's right, but his answer is, I'm about to save everyone. Because, you know, that centering again,
Oh, yeah.
that fantasy of everything is for a reason. And it's like, you know, there's a lot of, I mean, I say this as a materialist, you know, things are contingent, but that doesn't disallow crazy crap just happening. You know, like not everything does happen for a reason. Sometimes
No.
just bad luck.
Mhm.
Or dumb, not even bad luck. You know, I reject the idea of bad or good luck. It's dumb luck. Luck is dumb, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a really interesting football writer that I've sort of gone away from, Greg Easterbrook in the States, and he used to do these huge Tuesday morning quarterback articles, but he also writes books. And one of his contentions is that in the realm of success and successful people, the concept or the notion of luck is often downgraded. Like
Yeah.
the role that luck actually plays is often like, yeah, well, you know, is not taken into account almost ever, you know, or is very undermined, basically. But in that most successes, there is some element of luck. So that's, you know, that's the flip side of that. Anyway,
I think that's sorry, Jim, I'm just
no.
replying to something but the acting. Brent mentions the acting. I'm like, yeah, they totally committed to the bit. Like every performer here, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah. A lot of people were kvetching that Jesse Plemons didn't get a nomination. I think he got a Golden Globe, but not an Oscar
yeah,
nomination.
his career's over then.
Yeah, he's
I
out of
mean,
here. He only gets to that work because of Kirsten Dunst.
Although I gotta admit, like, how much of this also, you know, you've got to. It's always tough to separate other things you've watched when you're watching some of this stuff. But here is this woman chained to the floor, limited movement in the basement, and all I can think is of what his character in Breaking Bad
Oh,
does to Jesse. I think that's the Heisenberg sidekick.
second, yeah.
What he does so that the guy can make crystal meth for the Nazis, you know, the Nazi gang. And it's like, and it's one of those scenes. I saw that. I don't know why I stumbled on it, like watching halfway through the movie. And I was like, this is gross. This is so gross. This is so disturbing. I'm glad I never got into this movie or into this TV show. I question everyone who really liked it now. And I'm like, oh. And then I see this and it's Jesse Plemons. And I'm like, geez, Jesse.
Well, he has a way of picking out he's unflinching, right? And we're used to, oftentimes he's almost like a Philip Seymour Hoffman kind of next generation type, where, you know, Hoffman always played these sort of dickish kind of guys or whatever.
Well, but he was
I remember, you know, the Civil War pink sunglasses guy. What kind of American are you? Like, and genuinely, like,
terrifying,
scary. Yeah, a little blonde guy that's
but what about the guy, the character he played in, oh my goodness, Western, neo-Western. He's in it with his wife, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, Year of the Dog.
Thank you. You know, a different, almost an opposite, almost a Dawn without the, you know, because there's that similar quasi-brother dynamic.
Yeah.
You know, except
it's
he's
been a
the
while
one
since
being, you know, taken care of, picked on, you know.
Yeah. And then of course he was the good, the good cop or the cop to the rescue in Scorsese, Mr. Scorsese's Flowers of the Killers of the Flower
Flower
Moon.
Moon, yeah.
Flowers of the Killer Moon. That's
Brett
but
feels he
yeah.
deserved an Oscar nomination.
Yeah, I mean he put it out there. It's so hard, like with only 5, you get 10 movies and 5 each for acting.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, there's always
Another
people
reason
that are
why,
overlooked.
I mean, this is somewhat hypocritical here because I do love Oscar time for our channel, you know.
Yeah.
That said, yeah, our lives as film fans should not live or die or even really be that affected by what goes on with a very small group of incredibly rich people in one part of the world, a very small part of the world, relatively speaking. Yeah, it should. We should be, we can use their choices as a window into their opinion. We can use their choices as a way to look at films that we otherwise wouldn't see. But there's also alternative lists. I will put a link to my alternative list here. And how is it? I mean, it's something. See more movies with subtitles.
Yeah,
You know?
If anything, it's a good barometer for documentaries, live shorts, like the people that sort of need the viewers. Documentaries, foreign movies, and then the short docs and the short animation and that kind of thing. Look at Flow is a perfect example of a movie that
The
sort of
Secret Agent. Movie we just the movie we talked about in our last podcast, still to just about finish putting it up. It was just an accident. It was just an accident. Iranian film. And would you and I have heard of it if not for Oscar buzz?
Yeah, maybe it would have gone out, just that word of mouth thing, but or with the Cinematheque crowd, but who knows? Like the art house, oh look, the art house is showing it.
Does make me think you had recommended it, Jim. Ida, we got to put on our chat list, on our deeper dive list.
And that's, I didn't watch it because it was it won the Oscar in 2013, but the other night I was looking for a movie to watch and it was at 2 a.m. and I thought, I wanted to watch a movie tonight. Let's see what there is out there. So I wanted something like quick. So I found, and I said to you, that Community episode where they make their own movie, Steve Gutenberg comes in, he goes, oh, I think we can make this a quick 82. And I found a quick 82 Polish movie about a nun who goes looking for family. And it was fantastic.
Yeah. Yes, it was. And you can get it on Canopy. One more thing before we got to come to some sort of conclusion here.
Sure.
I don't know about you, but I don't think I'll ever be able to hear Green Day's Basket Case again without thinking about that horrible scene of torture. That even if she is the bad guy here, it's like, oh, this is not, And seeing, and Brett mentioned it as well, but seeing Dawn reacting to it in sympathy, and it's like, oh, wow, that's harsh. Basket Case, really?
Well,
that's the music cue. But that does lead me to the question, Jim. I mean, there's not a lot of pop songs in this. It's not needle drops. The way they use music, though, in this film, and at times it's almost like, oh, now we're getting the big crescendo thing after the plot point, where you think they'd be leading up and we'd get a, what do you think about the sound, the score, not the tracks, but the score? What did you think about that? How are you reacting to it? What's your take on
Uh,
it?
yeah, I guess they were almost like, in retrospect, they say it's a good thing when you don't necessarily notice them the whole time, that they're doing their job. I did notice they were almost like sound effects, that to accompany some sort of harsh action or change of mood or something. It was the same guy that did uh, Poor Things. I'm just looking it up now. Jerskin Hendricks or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. Uh, yeah, here it goes. Bear with me one second. Jerskin Fendricks. There we go. Jerskin Fendricks. And I remember really liking the score to Poor Things, and it was a little less obvious this time, but
I
probably more
yeah,
effective, I think.
I disagree actually. Like it when it comes in, it is obvious and it
Yeah,
hits.
yeah,
Like this isn't I'm talking about those big moments and they almost seem dissonant with what's
yeah,
going on
yeah.
the screen. You know,
Well, it's
and
kind of
I'm like,
scary, isn't
what
it? It's
is
got
the
a kind of a
use
scare,
here? Because it's
gets
not
your heart going.
you get a weird you get sound design and there are some things where it's like, okay, I can feel the tension being ratcheted up. It's like, oh, this is getting
Yeah.
creepy. But when something happens, then all of a sudden you get this big, almost like triumphal,
Mhm.
like Star Wars, not John Williams, but that kind of that same idea of now we have the big thing, and it's like this big flourish, and it's like, well, what's going? Why? And I don't mean it in a bad way, but I'm
No, no.
like, I
What
don't
does
know
this
what's happening.
signify?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it was, and not to say that it wasn't noticeable, but it sort of did its job, I think,
yeah.
as part of a piece. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It worked in tandem with everything else. I sort of liked it's a very still movie. There's not a lot of movie. The camera doesn't often move unless, Jesse Plemons's Teddy gets on his bike and starts moving, or there's some sort of chase. And I think that, when the camera is in motion, those few times that it's in motion, I sort of equate the music as sort of coming up. Then she's running out of the ambulance, or they're chasing her down, that kind of thing. But other than that, the camera's really pretty still, if I'm remembering correctly, unless there's some sort of like, oh, gotta take care of something. And then there's an element of urgency there too. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was effective. And when I say I didn't notice it, it's like I say, it works in conjunction with the other parts of it. It's not that Ennio Morricone, his music tends to stand out to the point where people sort of say, well, that's a little much. But when he's doing his spaghetti westerns and things like that, so that's I'm sort of making the differentiation there.
Gotcha. Um, let me bounce this one off you because I'm still struggling with this. What the hell is this movie really about?
Mhm.
Is it really just we suck? You know, but maybe if it is about Teddy, if he is the main character, it's tragic. He
Oh
was
yeah,
right. He was right about it all, and he doesn't find out.
yeah,
He,
yeah.
he blows himself up
That's true. That's true. Yeah, good point.
before he gets to actually see that he was right. He wasn't just crazy, which is about the only time he really reacts to Michelle
Hmm.
is when she's she's being smarmy, and then like as the stakes rise, her tone does change, but it still comes down to you don't know, you don't really know. And it's like, looks like he really did. His research
Hmm.
worked out and he doesn't get to see it. Is that the dark joke?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
And she's frankly kind of faking it, right? The whole thing, and she obviously has the voice of authority, so she can sort of talk down to the let's have a dialogue. And she's like, I'm gonna
Oh,
see if
yeah.
I can be in charge with my words, and which is, I mean,
Well,
she was
because look at these
fantastic in this.
hillbillies. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should be able to
I'm gonna
manage this. I've
I'll bring
managed
it
people.
down
Yeah,
with my tone of voice and
yeah,
my selection of words, nothing too long that will set them off, or
yeah,
yeah. And that, like most, anytime they're gonna, hey, let's have dinner at a long table, you're in for you're, you're in for some torture. Any movie, any TV
yeah.
show, they're not supposed to be fun, pleasant scenes. But yeah, what is it
Brett's
about?
saying it's
I mean,
maybe it's a cautionary tale. He classic. He almost saved the planet. He almost,
yeah,
because that's the other thing. He was right about the stakes. The
yeah, yeah.
planet is at stake, which kind of goes almost like full circle. I think to it is there is a real critique of what we're doing. I would argue it's the capitalist mode of production. Forever growth. Growth for growth's sake.
Mm,
Profit must be poured back into making more stuff for more profit. It's like and while we may argue about who's driving the car, no one's saying, we got to stop the car. We got to pull it
mhm,
over. No, it can only go faster. It's like, yeah, but there's a cliff right there. So
mhm,
to give it the benefit of the doubt, like there is something real about our real circumstances, So maybe
mhm.
that's it. It is a creator. I really like this idea. Um, in part because it reminds me of a psych prof I had who said, hey, you really want to remember something? This is how you study. Skim, question, read, repeat, review. And when I've read nonfiction, this guy's like, hey, you want to analyze, to help you analyze. He's talking about books, but he's like, preview, predict, and then purpose. What is this? And I'm like, and this is like, yeah, what is this guy's pitch? What is Lanthimos trying to get us to feel?
Mhm.
That we're being invaded by aliens? I don't think so. That we should all
Mm-mm.
be conspiracy nuts? Do you feel that?
No, no.
Or is it like, well, the conspiracy nuts are wrong. Like, look at all this stuff that came out of the Epstein files. Again, that it's like this art comes at the right time.
Yeah.
That is not me admitting that everything is for a reason. Or,
Mhm.
but when you look at what some of the what we're learning about the Epstein files isn't just the ick factor, but how tied in these people were with each other.
Mhm.
Not just because they're creeps, but because they're rich, powerful people, and they just want to continue to be rich and powerful, no matter
Yeah.
what's happening.
See you at the
It is
yacht
their,
show.
yeah. um, but yeah, that is what I'm struggling with here. Well,
Mhm.
what's
Mhm.
what is that emotional part? What, how are we supposed to come away from this? It's pointless. Again, I think of the triangle of sadness that,
Yeah.
well, it sucks and this boat we're on sucks. And, but I mean, it wouldn't be any better if if the wretches took over, you know? Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it's kind of, nihilistic. It's the
It is. Yeah.
late empire thinking. It's like, well, you know what? After us, it's all just the flood. We'll start over. It's like, no one's got some ideas here.
Well, and the other thing too is like, I mean, it's not necessarily that you're looking for like an alternate solution. Where's the hope?
Brett
Yeah,
does make
frankly,
an interesting point, which I think, though, is I would argue it supports mine, but I don't think he feels that way. He says, actually, the planet is fine. It just doesn't have any people anymore.
yeah, yeah.
But the thing is, I would, well, I'll pull up the quote in a sec, but yeah. Anyway, you were saying, Jim, sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, and I haven't done this yet in a while. Please like, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell.
The the other aspect of this is, in addition to Teddy not, I mean, he goes in believing he's on the right track, but he still hasn't confirmed it, right? Oh no, this calculator is my key and I have to punch in 55 digits. And why is this taking so long? Like he's like getting the kind of, he's getting suspicious. And yeah, sure it is. Sure, this is the way up to your, this is a teleporter for sure. But so he goes in, in good faith, and he doesn't find out what happens. But say that did happen. Say that he got up there, and I was thinking this the whole movie. Like, what is his leverage? Like, he's going to demand that they leave the planet.
Yeah.
He's not in a position.
What's his end game here?
The rest of the earth is going to go. Who are you to talk about this? You go, well, I work in a.
Maybe it was the vest
production.
He was a suicide bomber.
Oh, you think that was the final?
Yeah, that probably was his final solution.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Choice of words on one level, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I could say that. Well, he said, what did he say? He said, oh, it was a little bit of insurance or just in case things go south. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, I sort of was. So all along, he might have just wanted to take them down as well.
Well, if why he can blow up the Emperor in the ship, all of a sudden he's removed the interference.
Yeah. So he showed his hand a little early to her anyway. He probably should have kept that to himself if that. Yeah. Well, that's an interesting conclusion, but
it occurred to me in our conversation.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, it shows coming into here, and frankly, yesterday I was, for the big folks that don't know, I'm a birder. I'm walking around these woods looking for owls, and I'm thinking, what was that movie really about? And just like most of the way that this has gone, is it just that humans bad, Earth good, and that's, I was trying to work my way through that and find another kind of a solution there.
Well,
but
this is Brett. I like the way Brett puts it. It's a positive, upbeat thing because the planet is okay. There's hope is growing the planet gets to restart, a new thing to evolve. That dog licking the ice cream cone is suggestive. Of course, I'm just I'm thinking of Mr. Burns. I happen to like this iced cream. A few times he isn't thinking about screwing somebody. I am going to say that, and this is something I remember, Jim, years ago, I was active in the NDP in Alberta. And there was some talk of starting a new party, and I don't know why I went to this.
There's a challenge.
It was before Notley the Younger.
Notley,
everyone talked about Notley the Elder all the time. But there was talk of that. And I remember at the meeting, and I remember I said something that really kind of got people's noses out of joint, but I was okay with it. And I was like, I said, I don't give a rat's ass about the little meadow creatures. The reason we want to take care of the meadow creatures is because we depend on this. We are part of, basically, if we don't take care of the meadow creatures, we're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
The planet won't care, though. The planet will continue to spin.
Oh, yeah.
Life will continue. We want to do something because it's our survival.
Hmm.
And this is actually one of my biggest arguments against, one of my biggest critiques of most emotional and moral arguments for uh, saving the environment versus that Mother Nature needs us. It's like, no, Mother Nature will be fine. The
Hmm.
planet will be fine, but we'll f it up for ourselves, you know? Um, and to go to the hope thing, that's this idea that it's like we're flawed. It's a very Christian argument, or within the realm of Christianity and some other world traditions, that we're flawed from the get-go. That we're a flaw. It's that idea of original sin, that we're a fallen creature. And it's like,
Hmm.
well, no, I don't believe that. But I do, and this is where I will now read a quote. I mean, it's a classic, but I think it brings something to bear. It brings why I'm not saying it affects the quality of film, but why I disagree about this idea that it seems to be selling, which is it's philosophers have only interpreted the world in various ways. The point, however, is to change it.
Hmm.
And this has like end of an era, après moi la déluge, uh, end of empire, you know, well, what are we going to do? It's all just going to crap. And it's like, what? We can do stuff. First
Yeah.
of all, the iceberg, we can see it. Why are we stepping on the gas? Why are we not turning?
Yeah.
Stopping something. I hate you, Captain. So yeah.
Hmm.
Ah well.
Yeah. It sort of reminds me a little bit of two of the Road, the Cormac McCarthy book, and almost
Ah,
everything's dead. There's
yeah.
almost everything's dead. Some humans are still alive, but I think all plant life dies. However, the Earth is still geologically alive. So I think, and it was quite, there's, beyond us, there's an eclipse, I think, and then there's earthquakes and the avalanches and like things. The rock part of the Earth is still doing stuff, is still alive. Not much else is, but it was a little hinted at undercurrent that I quite appreciated about that extremely gloomy book.
Yeah.
But you know,
That
still here, guys.
bummer of a story.
Still experiencing earthquakes and tidal waves, but
Yeah.
don't mind me.
Well, and eventually, we get shaken off like a like a virus.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
oh well, you can't eat anymore. Bye-bye. But
yeah,
for me, as a human being, I'm like, well, yeah, shouldn't we be trying to do something? Shouldn't we imagine something past it? I've mentioned it before on the channel. We've talked about other stuff like this. This has got an apocalyptic sense, and it's like, no, survive the plague. You know, most actual political structures intact. Actually, you know,
mhm,
it. I mean, it changed everything over a long period of time, but it didn't all collapse. You know,
yeah,
you know, Rome leaving Britain certainly had an effect on Great Britain. You know, but anyway,
mhm.
um, Jim, now that we've talked about it, yeah, who would you recommend this to? Anything else you want to add on that?
Yeah, I think people, the lack of
Oh, yikes! I'm
seeming kind
sorry.
of,
What pin in that, folks?
yeah,
That quote was Karl Marx.
ah,
Yeah, from the Theses
um,
on Feuerbach. Feuerbach. Sorry. Anyway, back to you.
At the risk of sounding sort of vague, again, I don't think it's for everyone, but I think we know the people in our orbit who would probably appreciate this. Her being the alien queen, that's a great swing for the fences. And I was thinking, if that didn't happen to be how this movie ended, how would it end? Would it be nearly as satisfying? And but that's not what happened. Yeah. She turns out to be the not just a member of the royal family, but the Empress herself. The Empress. And I love that part. But I think a lot of that would set up a lot of people off.
Teddy was right. It's like, wow, it's off the charts. I have charts. It's off the charts. He has done enough of this torture to know.
So I think we know the people that in our orbits that who would like this. I don't think it would be for everyone. Like my daughter might like it. My son, they're sort of into movies. I'm not sure my wife would like it so much. Well, maybe she would. Might be a bit gloomy. But anyway, I the people that like big swings, that don't mind a little bit of oddness, I think.
And it
would
is
appreciate this.
It is. There's violence here.
Oh yeah,
in a way that you do not, that hits differently than some other films. Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, I think it is time to wrap it up here, folks.
Sure.
Jim, is there anything you wanted to add before we wrap it up here?
No. Rest in peace, Catherine the Great, Catherine O'Hara. We lost last month, and what a fantastic gift to the world.
Lola Heatherton.
And for the folks that grew up with SCTV, the movies and everything else was the secondary part of the career. For me, she was always part of those superheroes. There are Avengers, those 7 people in SCTV. So that's
did you have a favorite
part of my youth
SCTV skit of hers? Or what one, when you heard of her passing, what's one that came to mind?
I think there was a couple of the Lola Heatherton, of course, because it was a standout and when I was young. And also, I always loved those game shows that they did, and it was Margaret Meehan who always tried to
system
predict ABBA, and then she would always, and the SCTV was so great in so many ways. In addition, is that they had 2 women and 5 guys, but the 2 women had to do everything, every number of roles, and they really seemed to give them carte blanche. Whereas, there's historical stories of the women not being treated so well on SNL. Halfway.
Brett in the chat. Shout out to Brett. Sorry.
The women being treated not so well on SNL kind of thing, and we get none of those stories with SCTV. And they just did dynamite work on a shoestring budget, and for year after year after year, Toronto, Edmonton, wherever they shot, and they just brought it all the time, fixated perfectly between the SNL sketch stuff of America and the Monty Python absurdity of England. It sort of had this beautiful middle section, and they were also versatile. And Andrea Martin and her had to handle all the roles of women, and they nailed it time after time. One that wasn't so much a character, but it was the Whispers of the Wolf takeoff on the Swedish movie that Count Floyd thought was a horror movie because it's called Whispers of the Wolf, but it was about the relationship between 2 sisters. It was an Ingmar Bergman knockoff, and Turtin, what room? What room? Turtin. That was classic.
I saw an interview with her and Andrea Martin years later, and there is a bit of the guys we're double dipping, and double dipping. It sounds like they were doing something wrong. They're getting paid as writers and as performers. Catherine and Andrea weren't.
Oh, I think you mentioned that before. I think
So Catherine,
that's right.
bitched about it and was still bitching about it in this interview years later. And when I say bitching about it, I don't mean it was wrong. They were getting
Yeah.
fucked over. And you could see Andrea Martin physically getting uncomfortable still years later, like, I'm not with
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
O'Hara
Well,
is
she's
like,
a firecracker.
I want my money. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry, but well, no. You should get your money.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you don't mess with those Irish girls either. You know that they'll get you. But no, she was fantastic.
Well, that's
Yeah,
you know what? That's a
R.I.P.
great upbeat way, even though it is about a woman's passing.
Mhm.
Unlike, you say, oh, what could have been? She had a long, like right to the end, putting out great work, just a great performer. Um,
Mhm. You know,
yeah, and a
there's
part of our
go ahead. I just want to mention one thing before you sign off. Go ahead.
okay, do it.
Nobody had to explain who she was. She was this actress in her 70s. Nobody had to contextualize it because generation X, Y, Z
Oh, yeah.
all knew her because of the role she chose, whether it was Schitt's Creek or The Rest of Us, or
Glenn
Nightmare
Martin
Before Christmas.
DDS.
Yeah, like just the Christopher Guest stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody had to explain to the kids who she was and what she did because
No.
she was so good at choosing roles that everyone knew who she was.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real testament to her power, her longevity in the career, and just her charisma and her talent. Yeah,
All right. Well,
yeah,
on that note, first of all, Brett, thanks very much for coming in the
yeah.
chat. Great insights. And Jim, as always, a pleasure. Folks, yeah, it's time to wrap it up.